Welcome to Ramblings with Joe. Well, the genie is out of the bottle. AI is not going away. Today I'd like to talk about the repercussions of AI. Recently watched a video on YouTube. I'll try and find a link and leave it in the comments. And they were talking about, the crew that put it together were talking about the repercussions to the internet and the content creators, and the idea that AI is sort of eating itself. It is doing this by destroying content creators. I'm not talking about this kind of content. I'm talking about actual web pages where you can go and you can look up information like Wikipedia and, just pick one, the Mayo Clinic or some of these car repair places or anything that you can think of. How to do a podcast. You go to a website and you look it up and you figure out what you need for lighting and backdrop and what kind of microphone to get, how you shouldn't buy too much equipment too quickly. So all of this content is on the internet in the form of web pages. In the past, you do a search. When you did the search, whether you're using, I'm going to show my age here, Ask Jeeves or Yahoo or Google, it would go out and it would scour the web using something, I believe it's called a crawler, and it would find the information you were looking for, and then it would send you to that content. So when you got to that content, a lot of times you would often find advertisement, ways for the people who created the content to make a little bit of money, or a lot of money, depending upon the content creator and the value of the information you were getting, or the entertainment you were getting. So that's changing in a very significant way. Now what happens is, for instance, if you're using Google, it goes to the content on that web page and it extracts from that content provider's web page the information you're seeking, and then it posts it in that little blurb at the top of Google after you do your search, that little AI blurb. Well, that little AI blurb has taken that information from that content provider and has made it free to you without the advertisements bothering you. But the advertisements are how that person made a little bit of money that made putting that content out worthwhile. This is a capitalist system. This is how we make money. This is how we kind of exchange and barter our goods and services with each other, whether it's cyber or whether it is, actual hands-on materials or services. That's how we do it. We do it with money. If that fellow who was making money, let's say he was very successful at it, and he was making a lot of money, all of a sudden that money starts to dwindle because nobody's coming and looking at the advertisements. I mean, the advertisers, they're not paying as much because he's not getting as many eyeballs on the advertisements. So his amount of money starts to shrink. I use AI, and I use it a lot. As you can see, all these cartoons I'm posting, this is from AI. I just go to Grok and I ask Grok to create a cartoon, and I describe what I want, and this is what I get. The people that are making content, that are creating it, that have the ability to create it, and the knowledge base to create it, that knowledge base that, things like Grok and ChatGPT and Google's, I think there's a Gemini, the way they get that information is by not looking at the advertisements. So now the advertisers are saying, we're not going to pay you as much. Eventually, we start getting all that information and we don't even bother going to the site. So this big group of people that used to go to the site has shrank down to just a very small group of people, or even just one person or none. The content provider now has a choice. Is he going to do this for free, or is he out of business? Because honestly, a lot of these web pages are business. Whether it's nonprofit or not, the money still has to flow in to support the business. So our content provider closes his doors, shuts down the website, goes out of business. Well, perhaps the AI has stored that information that he put forth somewhere. Maybe not. the AI has lost a resource. And that's what I mean by it's eating itself. When it no longer has that content provider providing the information that it needs to answer our questions or to create these cartoons or to create anything, what does it do then? And that's a complicated question, because the question then becomes, can it come up with the real, honest, truthful, and accurate answers on its own? I don't know. I do know that that guy that went out of business, well, that's a loss. That's a loss for all of us. I pay Grok $30 a month, AI. Actually, I guess there's going to be some people that say I am paying Elon Musk $30 a month. Everything is subscription based now. I'm not sure if I'll continue to pay it, but that money is a direct replacement for that content provider's advertising dollars that he received. The difference is it's not going to him anymore. He's out of business. Now it's going to AI, to Grok, to that company. So the money's been displaced. And I think the only way to prevent this guy from going out of business now is for him to get some money from the AI companies, sort of like a iTunes model, if you will. Every time someone plays a song on iTunes, the artist is supposed to get a little bit of money. So maybe every time AI reaches out and scours this content creator's website, he should get a little bit of money from AI. I'm not sure where we're going with this. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. But as I said, the genie's out of the bottle. We can't put that genie back in, or maybe a better way of saying it is the toothpaste is out. Can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. This is going to affect the ability for content creators to make a living, if that's how they make a living. Some of us just do this as a hobby and have to go to work at the end of the episode. There's a few ways that this can shake out. It was right about now that I decided I would ask AI. When I was creating these cartoons, something occurred to me, and I asked it what the top 10 jobs that were going to be replaced were. And it was the typical jobs that you might think of, the marketing, help desk. It listed, the top 10. What surprised me was one of them was truck driver. I think AI probably understands that there's a lot of jobs about to be displaced, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to embrace it and work with it. As a content provider, this guy might end up taking a little bit of money from AI, or he may end up working with AI, a much closer relationship, which would probably be the best that we could hope for out of the situation. I'm old. I drive a truck still. I don't know if I could hit autopilot, if you will, and let AI take over. I've always kind of embraced technology in my life and really enjoyed it. That might be a bridge too far for me to go. I'm not sure. When that comes up, I may have to face the truth of things, and it may be time for me to hang up the truck keys and hit retirement. So are we going to let AI pay us out a little bit, as in the iTunes model? Give us a little bit of cash. Not me specifically. I'm not making any money. But the content creators that are making money, are they going to just take a stipend from AI? Or are they going to work hand in hand with AI? Or are there going to be different tiers where some of them just catch a little bit of that, iTunes model money, and then other ones are getting a huge amount of money because they're really strong experts in a field? And are they going to give AI so much information that they run themselves out of business? Not sure where we're headed. I know that we have to kind of check out the whole picture. And as this transition happens, we're either going to end up in this sort of wonderful place where we're all kind of creating things and doing things that are enlightening and creative to the human species, or we're going to be standing in soup lines being served, whatever AI wants us to have, or we're going to have a dystopian future where, we're just not needed, so AI is not going to feed us. AI is not going to let us live. AI is not going to kind of serve mankind. I'm hoping for the kind of more enlightened future, but I fear the greedy. I don't think greed's a bad thing. But the over greedy, the unfettered greed amongst the unethical people who tend to rise to the top, I think that they may drive humanity to that dystopian future. We have to find a way to keep a check on that. We have to find a way to make sure that the people who are running and leading the countries of the world find a way to turn us toward that enlightened future and away from that dystopian future. I'm going to turn toward my job. I'm going to head off to work. I hope that you all have a wonderful day. I hope this wasn't too deep a topic for you today. I've been thinking about it for a while. It is something daunting, and I hope that you think about it, give it some real thought, and maybe we can come up with some answers together as a species. I hope you have a great day. I hope you find peace, love, and dream. Until next time, see ya.